Trump is continuing to not hire the best people. The administration is tapping a MAGA loyalist for the top job at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You see him there, E.J. Antoni, Project 2025 contributor, an economist at the pro-Trump Heritage Foundation, who Steve Bannon urged Trump to nominate after Trump fired the previous jobs data chief because he didn't like the data, accusing her of manipulating stats without offering any evidence. Antoni has been a vocal critic of the agency and said this right before Trump fired the previous administrator.
Have we put in our own person into BLS? Is a MAGA Republican that President Trump knows and trusts? Are they running the Bureau of Labor Statistics yet, sir?
No, unfortunately, Steve, we still haven't gotten there. And I think that's part of the reason why we continue to have all of these different data problems.
Steve Bannon calling for a MAGA Republican to run the agency. But experts say the job is about instilling nonpartisan trust, which explains the instant backlash, including Barack Obama's top economist, Jason Furman, saying, quote, "I don't think I have ever publicly criticized any presidential nominee before. But E.J. Antoni is completely unqualified to be BLS commissioner. He is an extreme partisan and does not have any relevant expertise." Today, Reuters reporting on worries among economists about the reliability of jobs numbers due to potential political interference and staffing cuts. Joining me now to discuss is Justin Wolfers, economist with the University of Michigan and host of the Think Like an Economist podcast. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to start with this because this seems to be the basic thing to me. I don't think there are Democratic numbers. I don't think there are MAGA numbers. Aren't labor statistics just numbers? Tell us a little bit about what that job actually entails. I don't see why it's a partisan position.
Right. So let's try an analogy here. Say you wanted to figure out what the president's weight was. We could get a scale and we could put him on the scale and that would tell us in pounds. That'd be pretty good. And if it was a doctor, an honest doctor who read the scale, you'd know exactly what the president weighed. Now, here's the problem. What if I told you that Carolyn Levitt, the White House press secretary who has a tortured relationship with truth, was the one reading the scale? All of a sudden, I reckon that president's going to be about 100 pounds lighter. Now, in this case, It might mean he gets the wrong cholesterol drugs. But when it comes to the economy, it means that the folks at the Fed are driving blind. It means that businesses don't actually know which parts of the country are booming and which are in recession. It means job seekers don't know what occupations to join, and on and on and on it goes. It is just a number. This is a job that I want to be clear about this. It's the most important part of this. This is a job that has never been filled by ideologues. It's always been filled by number crunching nerds who understand all the wizardry of statistics, the complications, and how we can make data speak in a way that they tell the truth most clearly.
You know, Justin, this is the thing that gets me, to extend your metaphor about the scale. The worry is that Trump steps on the scale and Antoni and Pete Hegseth are holding his arms up so he appears to be a lot lighter than he actually is. What are the potential consequences of unreliable numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, both domestically and internationally?
Right. So these are data that are used for all sorts of things. Businesses use them to figure out where should I open my next branch. They use it to figure out whether they should be hiring or whether they should be contracting. The Federal Reserve uses it to decide whether to raise interest rates or lower them. Banks use it to decide whether to expand lending or whether it wouldn't be safe to do so. You and I might use it to figure out which occupations we should be directing our kids to be going into and so on. These are data that have already been collected. And all we need is to be told the truth in order to make the best possible decisions for our families, our businesses, and our government. Look, it's worse than you said, because even if Pete Hegseth isn't holding the president's arms, metaphorical arms here, the very suspicion that he might be is enough. I no longer believe what the scale says. This is a job that's always been occupied by a wonk because you want to eliminate any suspicion that the data is not worthwhile. And so the moment you allow the possibility of doubt, you've all of a sudden taken the hundreds of millions of dollars we, the taxpayers, have invested in these data, and you've made them a whole lot less valuable.
You know, I want to say this. There's a story now about Trump saying that Goldman Sachs should fire its economists who said tariffs would slow economic growth. Obviously, this is a president who is allergic to the truth. But what's the impact, Justin, of also not only does the president seem to want to manipulate his own data, but he is now threatening, and we've seen him go through these threats, threatening economists that don't even work for the government. What can that do to our economy?
Let me look him right in the eye and say tariffs are going to raise inflation and slow economic growth. Come at me, brother. But this is actually more pernicious than that. What this is a president telling a bank on Wall Street who to hire as their chief economist. After he told Intel who to hire as their CEO. After he told Harvard what to put on their curriculum. After he told Coca-Cola what kind of sweetener to use in their drinks. This is command and control. This is a single man in a room deciding all the different levers about what should happen in the economy rather than letting individuals make their own choices and individual experts and businesses compete with each other in the market to produce the best possible goods at the best possible prices. This is central planning. This is the thing Reagan fought against. And it's a beautiful irony, Jason. You and I are on MSNBC right now arguing for market forces over this excess of central planning from an administration crazy on power.